Hey y'all, welcome to Nothing is KIMpossible podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Lee, coming to you from Tupelo, Mississippi. You know, I've met some incredible faith leaders over the past decade that have impacted my life tremendously. So on this podcast, you will gain value and your faith will rise as you hear their testimonies, their God encounters, and insight from men and women from all over the world. Believe me, you will be inspired. So step into this faith conversation about how God has moved in the lives of ordinary people and gave them extraordinary purpose. Nothing is impossible with God. Thanks for joining us. Hey y'all, thank you for listening in to Nothing is KIMpossible podcast. I'm so excited because this is my very first episode, but it's with my husband of 18 years, Cory Lee. He's a super special guy, so just listen in on our conversation. I think we covered just a little bit of everything, from our God encounters to stories from high school to about his new book, Champion. But thank you for listening. Music here. Welcome, y'all, to the Nothing is KIMpossible podcast. It's finally happened, something I've been talking about for years, and we finally are getting it going. And so this Nothing is KIMpossible podcast is really, I've met some incredible faith leaders over the past decade, and I just keep telling you, Cory, like, gosh, I need to share their story because they have some pretty incredible stories. And so that's what this podcast will be about. It's just taking just ordinary people and telling their extraordinary God stories. So today, our very first episode, no other than Cory Lee. So I was intentional about this, Cory, like choosing you as the first episode because really you've paved the way. You've paved the way for us, and just want to honor you as a husband, as a friend, as a spouse. We've been married for 18 years, y'all. I know. We don't look that old. We were pretty young when we got married.
We were.
Yeah.
I was 21, you were 20.
Yeah. You know, I think we had to use somebody else's name to get our hotel room for our honeymoon.
I think we did. I think, I think it was like, at that time, it was like you had to be like 24 or something like that to even get a hotel room or whatever, where we were staying at for a honeymoon. And I think you're right.
Yeah, we couldn't even, our first vacation as a family, us, we couldn't even rent a car. We got to the place. We had booked online to get a car, right? And we got there and they were like, "You're not 25." And we're like, "No." And you don't have a credit card? No. And so I think at that point we got a credit card just so we could book a car.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So crazy. So I think I want to talk about today is I love to just talk about God stories.
Yeah.
Like, you and I were just chatting this week and even in the car about some pretty funny things. But just share, I would love for you to share just this journey that God has taken you on.
Yeah. Well, I knew you had asked me to be on the podcast yesterday. So I was just kind of thinking about some of our story, and it's just amazing to kind of look back over my life and just, you can see the hand of the Lord over my life. And then once we got married, you could see it over our entire marriage. And so I was saved at an early age, at 8, but I was always in church. But I was thinking about some of the highlights of our journey. Once we got married, we were engaged and those kind of things. We were thinking about, should we go to Delta State or should you go to UNA to play softball? And I remember, praying about some of that, and immediately got married and we moved to Florence, Alabama, and how we didn't have any friends, we didn't have any family there, but how that was really a powerful time because it forced us to get close to the Lord. We had to get close to one another, and we couldn't rely or depend on anyone else. And the Lord just showed up. And I can remember there would be times I was working, you were in college, and I would get paid on a Friday. We'd gas up the cars, pay the bills, get the groceries, and have $8 to live on. And I can remember we were doing that for a while, and the Lord started talking to us about tithing. And I can remember it's like, how in the world are we going to tithe? We ain't even got $8, you know?
Yeah.
And we did. And what was amazing was like, we still had $8.
Yeah.
Didn't lack anything, didn't miss a beat, but still had $8.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was just one of the thoughts that I had, one of the memories I had as I was thinking about some of our journey.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. Yeah, we never missed it, right?
No, never missed a beat. And did start tithing. And I think that was really, you hear that the Lord is a provider, the Lord is a protector, He is a healer. Well, that becomes personal once you actually experience that. And I think that was the first time I really realized that God is a provider. No longer is He is still Lord and Savior, but that's the first time I think for me that He was introduced as provider, because we didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
We went to Wendy's on date night. They talk about Applebee's for date night. We went to Wendy's.
That country song.
Yeah, I don't even know it, but I just know that lyric.
We didn't get that Oreo
No, we
milkshake.
didn't get that one.
No. Well, maybe a Frosty. We got a Frosty.
Every now
But
and then.
those were the best times. Like, we just look back. We have good times now, but like we just look back and just laugh, and just what God had taught us through that whole time was just amazing. But just that, it was almost like He was revealing Himself a little by little.
Yeah.
That active faith.
Yeah.
Put action to that faith. And so you said you got saved at a young age.
Yep.
Always in church. Yeah, so Cory was raised by his mom and grandmother, always in church. I think when we started dating, I guess you can say like 8th grade, I would start going to church with you.
Yep.
And so we've grown up together. Yeah. But I always remember like when we would even talk on the phone as 8th, 9th, 10th graders, I would always ask you to like teach me.
Yeah.
Here I was like laying on my bed, what would normal 8th and 9th, 10th graders be talking about? And I'd be like, tell me what you know about the Bible.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's
just
kind of
reading
make me
scripture.
Emotional thinking about, I was so hungry.
Yeah.
And I saw that on, it's pretty amazing. And, so fast forward like that, you had that basis in church, you had that foundation. Tell me what it was like when you gave your life to Christ.
Yeah, well, I can remember, I don't remember the date, or I say I was 8. It could have been 7. It could have been 8. I don't really remember that. All I remember is we were having a revival at our church, and a revival basically meant you had church not just on Sunday and Sunday night, you had it every night of the week.
Every day.
And so we were having revival meetings. I don't remember the preacher. I don't remember what he was talking about. I just remember sitting there in the pew thinking like, ooh, there is something going on the inside of me. I don't know what that is. I wonder what that is. And after I knew that I needed Jesus is what I knew is, I didn't have the language for it, but I knew something was stirring on the inside of me. And I can remember going home that night. My mom and my brother were doing their math homework. And that was a pretty stressful time because there was a lot of crying and I say yelling, but it was but more frustration than anything. And I can remember they were doing it. I was pacing back and forth behind my mom, and finally I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, "Hey, I want to be saved." I tap her on the shoulder, and then she turns around and says, "What? What is it?" Just out of frustration.
Out, yeah.
And I said, "I think I want to be saved." And that's really when she turned and shared with me more about the feelings, what I was feeling, and it kind of led me to the Lord in that. And we hung out with the same people. My friends were friends. They liked to, have fun and party and those kind of things. But I just never had a desire for that. I still hung out with them, and they would make fun of me, but I would make fun of them back, and just never had a desire to do any of that kind of stuff, the party stuff. And, I guess was good. And we got married, and then about 2019, so this is a long time of walking with the Lord. And then in 2019, really had an encounter with the Lord through a dream, and that basically shifted everything for us. It shifted our marriage, shifted even our kids felt it, shifted the desires that we had for business and all of that. And that was just a really, really a powerful thing where I guess the best way I can describe it was the Lord became real, and it was, he was, but it's kind of hard to put into language, but just had that encounter and just kind of all in at that point. Yeah.
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 It's been a pretty amazing journey, specifically over the past 10 years. I mean, I think I initially just fell in love with God all over again when we had Colton. And I think it was just a tender moment in our life. But also I saw this child and I was like, I love this child so much. Yeah. And it just revealed the Father's heart. It revealed God's heart for his children, and just started encountering the Lord as a father. And so pretty incredible times. We've had some pretty wild dreams where God has just vividly spoken to us through that. I think we could go that route. But I want to talk about high school, because I saw you even through high school and even through now, how you're such a good friend. How you're such a good friend. Like, I see you interact with all these men. You give these men, and even women, really, your time. You champion others really, really well. But I have a front row seat to watch you do that. And it just makes my heart happy how you've championed our children. So tell me a little bit about that, because we ran into a friend, and he said, I've watched you, and you're the same Cory Lee as you were in high school. And so I believe you posted something on Facebook today. Do you remember that saying? Call you out right here.
Yeah.
What?
In true leadership, we don't lead people to, what did I say? Oh, man. We don't, in real leadership, we don't lead people so they act better, but so they become better. And it's really just bringing the best out of people. And usually it's believing the best in people and encouraging people. What I've found is a lot of people, they just don't see themselves as being able to do some of the things that they want to do, or never had anybody to kind of champion them to go for it, or to just like, hey, I believe in you. Yeah, go for it. What's holding back? Like, what you going to do? And so, and then even after that, to be there of like, oh, that didn't go the way you wanted it to be. Well, what do we need to do to make that better? It's like, a lot of times people feel like they are on an island. They have to do life by themselves, or that they're so afraid to mess up, and if they mess up, then everybody is gone. There's nobody else around, and the reality is, like, that's how you learn and grow is through failure. But it's a powerful thing to have a community or somebody there who can be with you through that and help you learn and grow. So
yeah. So you mentioned community. That's a big topic right now.
Yeah.
It really is, and I really feel like it was because of that. Everything that's happened over the past few years with shutdowns, like, we didn't really know how much we engaged with community, or even the community that we had. Like, I felt like we took it for granted, right? And so now it's like everybody's like, oh, we got to have that community, things like that. Speak on that a little bit, because I feel like that is a topic that people have a hard time with.
Yeah.
Like, where do they find that community?
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes community, I think, can be very difficult to find for some people, because, to find community and to add value to other people and all those kind of things is you got to put yourself out there a little bit. You got to go make the introduction, or be in places where other people are. And that's by gathering, and life is busy, and it's so much easier to be isolated or just to get caught up in the day-to-day. But to develop that community, when I think about community, it doesn't necessarily have to be a huge community. Community could be just one-on-one coffee meeting, and being very intentional about reaching out to people, following back up with people, staying connected with people. Hey, you want to go grab some coffee, grab some lunch? And I think people need that. It's really when we get in isolation. I think isolation is the part of the enemy's trap right there, because when you feel like you're alone, but also I've seen it time and time again where people they're not intentional about community, and they get caught up in their thoughts, and then their thoughts kind of go down this negative route, and you can kind of build this worst case scenario thing of your circumstances and all this stuff. And a lot of the times that stuff's just not even true. So I think community is highly important, and finding that part of it is be the first to make a move. We talk about it in leadership of creating momentum. First part of creating momentum in leadership, but I think it's outside of that is you got to be the first person to make a move. And a lot of times I think people are waiting for someone to contact them, and that may happen, but really I found is you just got to be the first to make a move.
Yeah. I agree, because I watched you do that. Like, I'm like, what do you guys do all day besides drink coffee and go to lunch? Like, what's happening here? And so I really watched you do that really, really well. And so that's what I began to do.
Yeah.
And I've made some of the best friends over the past just few years because it's just one-on-one.
Yeah. And
you talk about the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario is they ignore your text, or, they say, I can't. That's okay. That's okay. But I'm really to the point too, is like, I want to hang out with women that are encouraging, that are positive, that have the same, like a positive outlook on life, that parent well. Mm-hmm. I have women that are farther down the road than me that can just impart so much wisdom to me, but also a friendship. Yeah. I have friendship with those women, all ages, really, all ages, all backgrounds, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. I've been so encouraged by like these coffee times. So next, I want to talk about. Why don't you giggle? Oh, I'm good. You don't know? Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. I'm good. It's hard. I have a harder time being on this side because I almost want to take over. I
ask the questions here.
I don't want to overstep.
I ask the questions here. Yeah. What's your favorite song right now?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. I think for me, usually when I'm alone, whenever I'm riding in the car or running, I don't listen to music. I'm usually listening to a book or the Bible or just thinking. And so for me, I think probably my favorite song right now is probably one of the kids' favorite songs. They like Forrest Frank, and so I like some Forrest Frank because it's got a good beat. It's got some good message to it. But I think mainly because it's their favorite song, it's probably my favorite song. And he's got several of them that I like. Now,
has a good beat.
It's got a good beat, good message too. But from a straight up worship, I always upper rooms that go to pretty much anything by them is good. I like that. Yeah,
I was just asking you a question. Just toss it out there.
Just see what would happen.
See what was going. I do want to talk about your new book.
Oh yeah,
because this has brought up a lot of conversation with us about coaches and just our experiences and things like that. So I love this book. Oh. So Cory has 4 books. This is the 4th one. He has a couple more.
They're on my computer.
Yeah, on his computer, and a lot more up here, right?
Yeah.
A lot more creativity in his mind.
I'm sure any English teacher would be very surprised that I actually wrote a book. So Miss Griffith, all those teachers that I got, I'm pretty sure you. And you know what? That's another thing I know there's a lot of people who want to write books and they worry about perfection. And
so you bring that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it. Like if you got a message in your heart, put that thing out there and find somebody who can edit that for you. Like I do the best I can, but I feel like my role is get the message out and then have somebody who's really good at knowing knowing the English language and putting that actually into the written word. Because, I know you've seen probably one of my first manuscripts. I write the way I speak, and that sometimes does not translate into the written word. And so I think sometimes what holds people back from getting their message out in a book form is worrying about perfection of it, and just find you somebody who can help you with the editing, and that's what I did. So, yeah.
Yeah. I love this one. Let's talk real quick. I know we're covering a lot of different things, but like a winner's attitude.
Yeah.
Like we've watched so many teams, especially now that our kids are in sports, like those attitudes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are they expecting to win? Or
Yeah.
are they surprised if they win?
Yeah. That whole chapter, so a champion's attitude, we talk about champions have this attitude of expecting to win, and then the underdog, they sometimes get surprised if they actually do win. And I love what Zig Ziglar says. He says, your attitude will determine your altitude. And he said that in relation to life and or work and those kind of things. But I think it actually comes down to a lot of different areas of life, whether it's in sports or whatever. My attitude towards that plays a large part in the outcome of it. So my attitude will determine my altitude. But that whole chapter came, I think, we were watching some soccer and even basketball. I think it was during basketball season. And we were talking about how they were out there warming up a specific team. And me and you had a conversation of like, they look like they are not expecting to win. Like they are looking like
going through the motions.
Yeah, going through the motions, and if they win, it's more of a surprise to them. And hey, that's great. But I can remember being on a football team, and you were on a basketball team where we expected to win. Like winning was what we totally expected to do, and actually we expected to win by a pretty large margin because we were good, and that was the expectation. And I think part of our wins came from we just expected to win. And now I was on a baseball team where we were not very good, and it's just two totally different mindsets. And we did not expect to win. We went out to play the game and have fun and hope to win. And so I think a lot of people live their lives kind of like that too. So that's my thoughts. What you think?
Yeah, I'm just smiling because you mentioned the baseball team, and I remember you telling stories about, a lot of times I didn't get to come to your baseball games because I was playing softball, right?
Yeah.
But I remember you talking about how Mama would just like, you play catcher, and she would just be at the backstop, like right behind you, just yelling. What would she yell?
I really don't know. My mom and stepdad, they were always talking about her yelling. I could hear her voice, but I didn't pay any attention to it. I just kind of played.
No. Yeah, and I will say this, like, kids really don't hear anything that you say.
Yeah.
So parents, fans, you can yell all you want. You're really probably only speaking to the people around you. If the player is good enough to do that, like get their mind right. Yeah. Because, I didn't hear anything. But it's funny how you could hear your coach's voice, right?
Yeah, you can hear that.
I think you're just trained to do that as an athlete. Yeah,
I think so too. I guess for me, we were talking about it coming on up here, was as the catcher, the coach allowed me to kind of make all the calls on the field. So I had a lot of things that I had as a catcher, not only thinking about the current situation, what was going on in the game, but trying to think about, how are we going to pitch to the certain batter here? And I ain't got time to be listening to, somebody else's voice. But if the coach said something, you would perk up and you could recognize his voice for sure. Yeah.
I'm laughing too because it reminds me of that time that our friend, his nickname was Slug, he was playing the air guitar. He was playing the air guitar in outfield, not paying attention to the game. And someone hit it out there and somebody said, "Slug is coming at you." And he runs like the total opposite direction
way.
of where the ball was going.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because it called out his name and he just cut out running. He didn't even look to see where the ball was. He just cut out running. It was totally opposite direction. So
he was getting down on the air guitar, which to know Slug, he should like be a recording artist. Like
Yeah.
I always thought he's so awesome. Still do. Like when I hear his stuff on Facebook, I think it's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I think about every time you talk about baseball. I think about Memo at the backstop and then Slug just playing the air guitar like it's nobody's business.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
pretty good there.
Yeah. So funny. So, yeah, I'm just so proud of you on this book.
Well, thank you. I would love to hear what your favorite chapter was.
Well, you know, it's like I read it a few times because we talked about it.
Yeah.
We would talk about it, and then I read it before it was printed, and then I read it again. So, like, you know, when I'm reading it, then I'm looking for
Helping me with my English.
yeah. But I mean, I don't have a favorite chapter. I would have to look back and see where everything was. I love Behold a New Thing, like where you started talking about the next season or the new season. And I talked about that in a women's group last Monday night. And I talked about, you know, a next season is just an extension of your last season, right? It's just an extension. But I believe God is doing a new thing, not just globally, but in each individual person. And so we talked about that new thing, and Sarah shared in Isaiah, behold, I do a new thing.
Yeah.
And when God was talking to the Israelites, but just being open to that new thing, you know, it may cause you, the call of God may have you shift some things.
Yeah.
I mean, we've experienced that just releasing even good things. You know, we've released.
We moved 11 times in 8 years one time.
Yeah. But just, you know, when he says go, when he says move, to recognize that that's the voice of God and obey into that new thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that part there because I feel like it speaks to so many people. Like I feel like people can just sense that in their spirit, like, oh, there's something new on the brink. There's something new on the brink. And I think it's individually, but I also think, you know, as a city, I feel like even Tupelo is on the brink of a new thing. I feel like our state, even our community. I don't know if y'all can hear that train. I wonder if they can. If we could like do like a.
Yeah. Or they can comment. Comment below if you can hear the train. That's what the podcasters and YouTubers say, right? Comment below.
Yeah. Y'all share and comment on here. Get the word out, you know.
I will say something on that. I've been thinking on this. This is, where you're going into some of the things that we've done. A lot of the things we felt like the Lord was calling us to do did not make any sense. Like to sell our businesses, that didn't make any sense because it was fun. We enjoyed it. But when we made that decision and then looking back, it was like perfect timing with some of the other things that happened in the industry. And then when the Lord told you to turn in your notice and to move out, like that didn't make any sense whatsoever, but he showed up and it's been perfect since then. And I was verse of scripture that's been, so this is a fresh word if you're ready for it.
We ready?
Yeah, so this is a proverb, and I'm sure several of you have heard it, but I've been thinking on this for the last 2 days, and the proverb, it says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but desire realized is like from eating from the tree of life. And I think a lot of times we have this hope deferred, talking about that new season, you know, in Greek, there are 2 words for time, which is kairos and chronos. Chronos is linear times, like what time is it? And kairos means an opportune time. I believe this is an opportune time. Sometimes people experience hope deferred because it's just not time yet. The timing isn't right. You know, we got growth and development that has to happen. But I believe we're coming into a season where that hope is not going to be deferred. That thing that's been stirring within you, that it's time, that opportune time to step into what God is calling you to do. And sometimes I think hope is deferred too because people are unwilling to step into that promised land. They're unwilling to grab a hold of what God's calling them into, maybe out of fear, out of doubt, or just being undecisive. And so I feel like we are coming into a new season, and sometimes, or a lot of us have a decision to make. We're in a valley of decisions.
Oh yeah, that valley of decision.
Yeah.
That's come up a lot lately.
Yeah.
It seems like, but yeah, I feel that too. So, I mean, what do you feel like the Lord is going to do in this new season?
Yeah. And
Just
you
share
know,
your heart. Like, what's on your heart about that?
yeah, I feel like, well, if you look globally or big picture, so I think a lot of times we get so focused in on just us and what we're doing and the world that we're in that we miss what the Lord is doing. And I think that's one of the best questions we can ask is, Lord, what are you doing? And I love that Stephanie Gressinger song where she's talking about catch me up in your story. And I think that's the perspective we've got to have is getting caught up in his story so we can get a proper perspective on our story. And I think what the Lord is doing right now is he's actually building. He is starting a fire in individuals, kind of like what he did with us, where you have an encounter and you get lit on fire for the Lord and he reveals himself and you begin to know the Lord. He knows you. But I think that what's about to happen is there's going to be pockets of people who catch fire for the Lord, and they're going to go out, and it's going to be contagious. And so, but I think everybody keeps talking about revival and awakening. I feel like that's going to happen on a individual level with pockets of people, and you're going to start to see a massive wave of some of that.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
Oh, what you think?
Well, just what you mentioned there, a lot of times we try to bring God into our story, like, just anything. We just try to bring him into our story.
Would you bless what I'm doing?
Yeah, bless what I'm doing. Lord, I'm going to do this. Although it may be good, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of good things. And we ask the Lord to bless that. Not that he might not, right? He may bless that.
Yeah.
But gosh, we've gotten a taste of this lately is where let's see what God is doing and let's partner with him.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned with Pastor Denise when we went to New York on missions is pray God's will, pray heaven's will. How do you know that? You press into him and ask him what he's doing. You don't go and do and then ask him to bless whatever.
Yeah.
But I love that being proactive and just engaging with God, engaging with the Holy Spirit. Ask him what he thinks about the situation. Ask him what he wants to do today. And just see heaven's will come to earth.
I've been reading on Reese Howes and how you say the girl's name? Marie?
Oh, Eder?
Yeah, there you go. Woodward. Marie Eder Woodward. Anyway, what's interesting about them is that's kind of what they did is they would pray into Lord, especially her. One of the things she would do is like, Lord, what do you want to do in this city? What do you want to do in this meeting? And kind of capture his heart. And then once she captured his heart, she would start praying that. And that would be her prayer. And she would see exactly what the Lord was saying. And that's what Reese Howes would do as well, is somebody would come to him and ask for prayer. He would go to the Lord and ask, like, what do you want to do? What do you say? All that. He would capture the Lord's heart and then do exactly what the Lord said, and the Lord would show up. And so, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty wild hearing some of these stories.
Yeah. I've heard of meetings just sitting there for hours and hours before, like in silence before they even start speaking because they're waiting and they want to understand fully what God has for that moment.
Yeah.
And I admire that.
I do too. Yeah.
We've been in meetings where worship was the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't 28 minutes of worship and then 15 minutes of the word. It was like the whole session was worship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was so powerful.
Yeah. I was in a meeting, what was it, a couple months ago, I guess? We went and did worship, and they didn't even do a song. But we were in worship, and they kept saying the same phrase over and over and over, and it was really powerful. But that was the first service I've been in that it was over, it was probably an hour or more. In worship, musicians were playing, singers were singing, but we just kept singing the couple phrases. It was powerful. Mm.
Yeah. So wild. So wild. Well, Is there anything else you want to add to this episode, Cory?
Yeah. Well,
This is your chance to just. What's your favorite thing about me?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Okay, I can do that. Well,
I'm just kidding.
We
I'm
may
just
need
kidding.
more time.
Yeah, we don't have that much time.
Well, I would be curious. I would love to hear some of your, you're doing this podcast, some of your God stories. It's, we've had a lot. I would love to hear one of yours. I'd share one of mine.
Oh, like,
Maybe a time maybe something that, a moment you had with the Lord, or even in our marriage and our journey where he showed up or whatever.
well, I'll just say, like, recently, I'm learning to lean into him more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm learning that it may not look like everything else before.
Yeah.
And it may not look like how someone else would do it.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I was texting, I guess, a spiritual mother in our life, and I was telling her about this upcoming prayer walk, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I feel like I find myself saying that a lot more often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But this is what I said, but I'm praying to get his heart on it.
Yeah.
And she replied back and said, that's the best thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was, for me, it was just so, like, so simple,
Mm-hmm.
right? We try to make it all complicated.
Yeah.
So it was so simple, a simple reminder. And I said, thanks for those reminders that's the best place to be, is seeking after him and seeing his heart on things. And she said, I'm only saying what I'm telling myself.
No.
And she's walked this journey a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And so right now in this season, I'm finding myself just pressing into him more and more. Even the simple things, like he loves the details.
Mm-hmm.
When we have events like, Lord, where do I do this? Do I say this? And just engaging with him. And I think that, I know that's the prize.
Yeah, it is.
That's the prize. Like, he is the prize. Is he enough?
Yeah.
That's what I've asked groups lately. Is he enough?
Yeah.
If he says no, if he says this, if he doesn't give you the job that you want, if you don't get the breakthrough that you want, if you don't, what you think is good for your life, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing. If what you think is good for your life, what if that doesn't happen?
Yeah.
Gosh, he's enough.
Yeah.
He is enough. And I think I've found that. How did you turn this question around on me? Why am I'm the question asker here. But I think that's a theme in my life, Cory.
Yeah.
Is like, gosh, just running after him. And he's been enough.
Yeah.
And he's been faithful. He's all I had at one moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's all I had.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people say, why does she love Jesus so much? Man, he's all I had.
Yeah.
He's all I had to get me through some things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I love that. I think one of my favorite stories from us. Oh, you said something that reminded me. Again, talking about the Reese Howells. I was reading his book, and he said something really interesting. The Lord had called him to not worry about money. Don't worry about money. Don't ask people for money. He was a ministry guy, and usually we do all the tithes and stuff like that. And the Lord told him, this is not for everybody, right? Like Kim was saying, but for him, don't ask anybody for money. Just rely upon him. And he said the only person that he knew that lived like that was George Mueller. And he started walking that journey. And his life was a little bit different from George Mueller. And the way that the Lord responded to him was different from George Mueller. And he put in this book, it's like he was teaching me a very personalized version of what he was doing with George Mueller. So it's very different the way he was teaching Reese Howells compared to George Mueller. And so it is very personalized. I think one of my favorite, we've had a lot of moments with the Lord where he just showed up. I think one of my favorites was when we moved to Phoenix. I think that's probably one of my favorite stories, because up until that time, we had gotten married, and we prayed about, and we didn't even really recognize the voice of the Lord at that time. Like we do now. We did hear it, but we were praying, should we go to Delta State or UNA? UNA. So we go to UNA. You got into St. Augustine and you got into Jackson. We prayed about where to go. Felt like Jackson. And we decided to go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And the day before we left.
Which is hilarious because we're like southern Mississippi. You know, we did venture out to Alabama, but we wanted to go. Like we really just wanted to see whatever. We wanted to
see what's out there.
Adventurous. We wanted to do all the outdoor things. We wanted to meet new people. We wanted to just do that. So it's kind of hilarious that we found ourselves in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah. And I think I had to even talk with Miss Joy. I'm like, we want to go to Arizona. And she was like, what?
Yeah. We don't know anybody in Arizona.
She was like, who do you know who you're going to stay with? And we're like, well, we're just going to get a condo. Like an
we'll figure it out.
Condo. Yeah. And anyways, she worked for us. And I think she loved that journey too. Yeah, so.
That was pretty awesome. But the day before we left, you got a check in the mail for a scholarship for $1,000. It was like, wow, where in the world did this come from? And I can remember driving out there, and the job I had lined up had fallen through. The rent we were supposed to pay, it went up, all this stuff, and I was pouting because that $1,000 was going to get to be spent on what we wanted it to be spent on.
You almost tripped over that bottom lip. I did.
Well, I had that bottom lip poked out.
Almost
just
tripped over it. Yeah.
And as we were driving, I felt the Lord say to me, "He's like, if I didn't give you that $1,000, how would you even get out there? Like, how would you have even made it?" And I thought about it. It's like we would have had no money. Like that $1,000 was how we actually got out there. And then once we got out there, your CI didn't know anybody. And this is where I ended up working out too.
My instructor.
Your instructor out there. Phoenix, Arizona. Never contacted, never been out there. Her husband graduated from Ole Miss, had a son at Ole Miss at that time, and made great friendships and connected with them from there. But why that's one of my favorite stories is all the other times we sought the Lord, this time we did not seek the Lord, yet he still showed up and he still provided, like showed up in amazing ways. We didn't have any money, and they weren't where we were at, didn't even pay for like 8 weeks at a time. It's like, how do you live on that, But somehow we did. We found all the free stuff we could find. And so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they actually do have like a lot of free entertainment out there. Yeah. I will say that. We went to tons of concerts.
Yeah. Volunteered at Toby Mac. Got to be there for that.
We would volunteer. That's what I'm telling you. That's where it's at. So we started volunteering at these events on the weekend that we wanted to go to.
Yeah.
And we would get in free.
Yeah. Yeah. We just had to tell people where to park and all that stuff.
Yeah. I forget about those little things, but we went to tons of free concerts, met Jeremy Camp, Toby Mac, and all those. Yeah. And,
Yeah, that was fun. We almost got a $600 or $800 ticket because we were trying to kayak down the main river there in Tempe, and we didn't know you had to have a license to do that. We just, there's a river, let's hop in there. I think the guy who pulled us over was like,
"Where are y'all from?
Guys, come on, y'all." And he could tell by our accent, "Y'all ain't from around here. I'm going to let you off."
Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I've talked about this for way too long, about starting a podcast. And so I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's time. I feel like we have a lot to say, and people have a wonderful story to share. Yeah. And I just can't wait to hear everyone's stories. Just get out there on the airwaves, and you just never know how it may impact someone.
Yeah, never know.
You never know, and we may never know. But it's going to be fun along the way. And so thanks for being my first my first guest.
It is an
Special
honor.
guest.
I'm excited to
Special
see where it goes. Love your heart for people and just to see people come to know the Lord, but also see the best in themselves. And you're right. You've met some awesome people, and I look forward to hearing all the podcasts and hearing their stories.
Hey guys, thanks so much for listening in to this conversation today. If this episode has impacted you, please share it or follow our podcast or comment below. I would love to hear from you. Thanks so much and have a great day.